Retirement is one of the most significant milestones in your life, representing the culmination of decades of work, savings, and planning. However, despite the best intentions, many people stumble into common pitfalls that can jeopardize their financial security and overall happiness during their golden years. Recognizing these pitfalls early and understanding how to avoid them can make all the difference between a comfortable, fulfilling retirement and one filled with stress and regret. One of the most prevalent mistakes is failing to start saving early enough. Time is arguably your most powerful ally when it comes to building a substantial retirement nest egg. The power of compound interest means that the sooner you begin saving, the more your money can grow exponentially over the years. For instance, if you start saving $200 a month at age 25 with an average annual return of 7, by the time you reach 65, you could potentially have over $300,000. Conversely, if you delay saving until age 45, you'll need to save significantly more each month to reach the same goal, and the growth potential diminishes drastically. Many individuals underestimate how crucial those early years are and believe they can catch up later, but in reality, catching up is very difficult without substantial sacrifices. Another common mistake is underestimating how much money you'll need in retirement. People often assume they will require less than they actually do, leading to inadequate savings. This miscalculation can stem from over-optimism or a lack of detailed planning. To avoid this, you should create a detailed retirement budget that considers all expenses, including housing, healthcare, leisure, travel, and unexpected costs. Remember that healthcare expenses tend to increase with age, and long-term care costs can be substantial. Inflation also erodes purchasing power over time. What seems sufficient today may not suffice in 20 or 30 years. Therefore, it's essential to plan for a retirement income that not only covers current needs, but also accounts for future inflation and unexpected expenses. A related mistake is relying solely on Social Security benefits for your retirement income. While Social Security provides a vital safety net, it is rarely enough to maintain your desired lifestyle. The average benefit may cover basic expenses, but falls short of what many need for a comfortable retirement. Relying solely on these benefits can lead to financial strain, especially considering potential future cuts or changes in policies. It is crucial to view Social Security as a supplement rather than the main source of retirement income. Diversifying your income streams through personal savings, employer-sponsored retirement plans, annuities, or other investments creates a more resilient financial foundation. Many individuals neglect to maximize their contributions to retirement accounts, such as 401ks, IRAs, or other tax-advantaged plans. Employers often offer matching contributions for 401k plans. Failing to contribute enough to receive the full match is essentially leaving free money on the table. For example, if your employer matches 50% of your contributions up to 6 of your salary, not contributing at least 6 means losing out on a substantial boost to your retirement savings. Additionally, many people delay increasing their contributions as their income grows, missing the opportunity to accumulate more wealth over time. Regularly reviewing and increasing your contributions ensures that your savings keep pace with your income and inflation, maximizing your retirement potential. Another critical mistake is not investing appropriately for your age and risk tolerance. Many individuals either take on too much risk, risking significant losses close to retirement, or become overly conservative and miss out on growth opportunities. Younger savers should generally allocate more toward growth-oriented investments like stocks, which have historically provided higher returns over the long term. As you approach retirement age, gradually shifting toward more conservative investments such as bonds and cash equivalents helps preserve accumulated wealth and reduces exposure to market volatility. Failing to rebalance your portfolio regularly can lead to misaligned risk levels, either exposing you to unnecessary volatility or limiting your growth potential. Working with a financial advisor or using a disciplined investment strategy ensures that your asset allocation evolves appropriately as your circumstances change. A common misconception is that you can rely on a high return on investments to fund your retirement comfortably. Many fall into the trap of chasing high yields without understanding the associated risks. Investments promising high returns often come with increased volatility and the potential for significant losses. Overestimating the returns on your investments can lead to overly optimistic retirement projections, which may not materialize. It's crucial to adopt a realistic and diversified investment approach, balancing growth with safety. Historical data suggests that a well-diversified portfolio with a mix of stocks, bonds, and other assets can provide steady growth while managing risk. Avoiding speculative investments or get-rich-quick schemes keeps your retirement plan on a more secure footing. Failing to plan for healthcare costs is another mistake that can severely impact your retirement finances. Healthcare expenses tend to rise dramatically with age, and even with Medicare, out-of-pocket costs for premiums, deductibles, prescriptions, and long-term care can be substantial. Many retirees are caught off guard by these expenses, leading to significant financial strain. To mitigate this risk, you should consider purchasing supplemental insurance, long-term care insurance, or setting aside dedicated savings for healthcare needs. Additionally, maintaining a healthy lifestyle can help reduce healthcare costs over time. Understanding your healthcare options and planning for potential costs ensures you won't be forced to deplete your retirement savings prematurely due to medical emergencies. Overlooking the importance of estate planning is a mistake that can lead to unnecessary complications and taxes for your loved ones. Many people procrastinate on creating or updating their wills, powers of attorney, and healthcare directives, thinking these are only necessary for the very wealthy. However, having an estate plan in place ensures your assets are distributed according to your wishes and can also help minimize estate taxes and legal costs. Proper estate planning includes designating beneficiaries, establishing trusts if necessary, and ensuring your financial and healthcare wishes are documented clearly. Regularly reviewing and updating these documents as circumstances evolve guarantees your estate plan remains aligned with your intentions. Another often overlooked aspect is the timing of your retirement. Some individuals retire too early, believing they are ready, only to find their savings insufficient or facing unexpected health issues that prolong their need for income. Conversely, retiring too late may mean missing out on enjoying your retirement years or may be driven by external pressures rather than personal readiness. Careful planning involves assessing your financial readiness, health status, and personal goals to determine the optimal retirement age. Sometimes, delaying retirement by a few years can significantly increase your savings and reduce the risk of outliving your resources, while also allowing you to maximize Social Security benefits and employer pensions. Failing to diversify your investments beyond traditional assets can be another mistake. Relying exclusively on stocks and bonds exposes your portfolio to market risks that can be mitigated through diversification. Alternative investments, such as real estate, annuities, commodities, or even investing in your skills and knowledge for a potential part-time income can add stability and income streams. Diversification is not just about spreading investments across different asset classes, but also about geographic diversification and considering investments that perform differently under various economic conditions. This approach can help smooth out returns and protect your retirement savings from market downturns. Many people neglect to review and adjust their retirement plans periodically. Life circumstances, financial markets, tax laws, and personal goals change over time, and your retirement plan should reflect these changes. Conducting regular reviews at least annually allows you to make necessary adjustments, such as increasing savings, reallocating investments, or revising your retirement date. Failing to revisit your plan can lead to misalignment with your current needs and goals, increasing the risk of falling short of your retirement aspirations. Another critical mistake is underestimating the impact of inflation and not incorporating it into your retirement planning. Over decades, inflation erodes the purchasing power of your savings, meaning that the amount you think you need today will likely be insufficient in the future. Failing to account for inflation can result in a shortfall, forcing you to cut back on expenses or work longer than planned. To counter this, your investment strategy should include assets that typically outpace inflation, such as stocks or real estate, and your withdrawal strategy should be inflation-adjusted. Planning for inflation ensures that your retirement income maintains its value over time, preserving your standard of living. Many retirees also make the mistake of not creating a clear withdrawal strategy. Drawing down your savings haphazardly can deplete your funds prematurely. A well-structured withdrawal plan considers your expected lifespan, investment returns, inflation, and potential unexpected expenses. Strategies such as the 4 Rule, which suggests withdrawing 4 of your savings in the first year of retirement and adjusting for inflation thereafter, offer a starting point, but personalized planning is essential. Proper withdrawal strategies help sustain your income throughout your retirement years, avoiding the risk of running out of money when you need it most. Overcommitting to debt late in life can be detrimental. Carrying high-interest debt or failing to pay off your mortgage before retirement can drain your resources and reduce your financial flexibility. Paying off debts before retirement provides peace of mind and ensures your income is directed toward enjoying your retirement rather than servicing debt. If debt is unavoidable, prioritize paying off high-interest obligations and consider consolidating or refinancing to lower interest rates. Being debt-free or minimizing debt in retirement allows you to allocate more funds toward leisure, healthcare, and other priorities. Failing to consider the tax implications of your retirement income sources is another critical mistake. Different income streams, such as withdrawals from traditional IRAs, Roth IRAs, pensions, and Social Security, are taxed differently. Not planning for taxes can lead to unexpected liabilities that reduce your net income. For example, withdrawals from traditional retirement accounts are taxed as ordinary income, while Roth accounts offer tax-free withdrawals if certain conditions are met. Strategic tax planning, including Roth conversions, timing withdrawals, and understanding required minimum distributions, RMDs, can optimize your after-tax income and extend the longevity of your savings. Many people overlook the importance of continuing to develop skills or engage in part-time work during retirement. Relying solely on savings can be risky if unforeseen expenses arise or if your investments underperform. Part-time work or pursuing new interests can provide additional income, keep you mentally active, and enhance your quality of life. It also offers flexibility. You can choose how much or how little to work, aligning your activity with your health and personal interests. Developing a plan for continued engagement ensures that your retirement is not just about financial security, but also about maintaining purpose and vitality. Lastly, many individuals fail to prepare emotionally and psychologically for retirement. Transitioning from a structured work life to retirement can be challenging. Without proper mental preparation, retirees may experience feelings of loss, boredom, or identity crisis. Planning for this transition involves more than financial preparation. It requires cultivating hobbies, social connections, and a sense of purpose. Engaging in volunteer work, lifelong learning, or part-time employment can help fill the void and provide fulfillment. Building a supportive community and setting personal goals for retirement contribute to emotional well-being and a more satisfying retirement experience. In summary, avoiding these common retirement mistakes requires proactive planning, disciplined saving and investing, ongoing review of your strategies, and attention to both financial and emotional aspects of retirement. Each mistake, if unaddressed, can erode your financial security and diminish your quality of life in your later years. By starting early, saving consistently, diversifying investments, planning for healthcare and taxes, and maintaining flexibility, you can create a retirement that is not only financially secure, but also rich in experiences and fulfillment. Remember, retirement planning is an ongoing process that evolves with your circumstances, and embracing this mindset will help you navigate the complexities and achieve the retirement you envision.